So today we want to look a little bit at ChonJi tool. This is a commentary video on a pattern. So I've done the pattern myself and I want to take a look at some of the features of the pattern, some of the things you see, some of the common mistakes, some of the mistakes I've made in this and some of the things I need to fix. So this was shot a while ago. Let's see what we get out of this. So, okay, starts as we expect. Naran Jumbisugi, parallel ready stance, feet are shoulder width wide, fists just in front of the knot of the belt. Nothing strange or startling there. Okay, here we go. Let's have a watch. So, first technique, low outer forearm block. So this is walking stance, 1.5 shoulder length long, big toe to big toe, shoulder width wide. Front knee is bent, back leg is straight, back foot is angled about 25 degrees forward, front foot points forward. The low block prepares in front of the face, it's back to back, and the tool is the outer forearm, finishes just below the lower side abdomen on the chest line. Okay, let's plow on, see what else there is here. Next one is front punch, and you can see the sine wave as you step through. It's this natural down, up, down, and it lands. This, if you look at this walking stance, it's actually probably a bit short. I don't know if that's the camera angle or if it's just not correct, right? So the front fist should be in line with the tip of the front foot. You can see in my version it's slightly ahead of it, so you can actually see the shoulders are kind of turned a little bit. So if that tells me the stance is probably too short and needs correcting. Okay, so let's have a look. The next bit is we go counterclockwise, or we go clockwise, sorry, and we make another low block. So the knees are bent as we travel, and here we prep at the top of the sine wave, back to back, blocking hand on top, in front of the face, deliver the block, half facing, same stance. Stepping forward, punching, and you can see again, probably a little bit short with the walking stance. Okay, going on, we move the left foot and we make the same preparation for walking stance. For walking stance low block, it's the same preparation, back to back, blocking hand on top, keeping the hip here, keeping the hip until you finish. So if you turn the hip before you block, you don't get this rotational force, you lose power here, and it takes the sharpness of the technique down. So when we go with this block, we have to really hold that hip and drive from the standing foot. In this case, the back leg turns the hip, and then the body rotates and everything finishes. Again, it's half facing, step forward punch, center line, shoulder high. Nothing strange or startling here. Clockwise, we make a low block and prepping at the top of the sine wave, not stopping the hands. One of the common things we see when, especially white, yellow tag, yellow belt, is that we get the ready position right, or we get the ready position approximately right. We cross the hands back to back, but they stop. So the first thing they do is they bring their hands together, and then they move their hands. You need to bring your hands, they need to try to cross as you're at the top of your sine wave. That's where you get your backward motion, that's where you get your sine wave. That's where you get your power from. So again, stepping on, finishes low block, middle punch. Now we have the first new stance here. So now we move the left foot to L stance, Nyunjisugi, L stance, and we make middle inner forearm block here. Boom. Okay, so middle block is shoulder high. The fist should be shoulder high. This one might be a tiny bit low, but it's close enough for jazz, I suppose. It prepares blocking hand underneath, both hands facing away from you or facing down. In L stance, we have both legs bent this time. Back leg more so than the front leg. The knee is over the foot but not past the toes. The front leg is slightly bent. The feet are angled in about 15 degrees, so not a huge amount. They're almost straight, but they're not pointed back. I mean, this is one of the common mistakes we see with L stance, is that back foot. The back foot kicks out into the, and it prevents creating the proper L stance. If you have a good solid bend in the back knee, 15 degrees, you let that hip sit down and you get half facing L stance. It's that's all I can kind of say about that one. Okay, stepping forward punching. Again, it's a walking stance, and then across we make our middle block. And you can see here when I do this, right, there's no kind of, the sine wave is missing at the end. It looks a little bit strange to me. So when I come, the preparation is there, but there's no down. There needs to be more. I think the body needs to drop a little bit more. The knees need to bend a little bit more. whether that's me just being lazy or whether it's lack of mobility in the ankle or something like that. But it's something I've seen a few times, and it's been said to me a few times that there's something funny about the end of your L stance. So something to be aware of. Again, you can see the fist is shoulder high, and it's L stance. So stepping forward punch. Nothing strange there. This is a middle block again. There is no width in L stance technically. The front toe should be in line with the back heel. The front toe should be in line with the back heel. So if you look here, this one is probably a tiny bit wide, but I think there's a little bit of debate on that one, I think. So I mean, if you want to chime in with your 2 cents on how wide L stance is, feel free. But it's my understanding that there's no width, and it's shoulder and a half long. I forgot to say that as well. Back heel to front toe. Front punch. Back foot is still 25 degrees in walking stance. Thank God. And we're off. So next one. Again, there's your middle block L stance, 15 degrees. This one is probably more than 15 degrees. The front foot is probably more than 15 degrees. The tool here for the middle block is the inner forearm, anpalmuk, inner forearm. The tool should be in line with the shoulder. In line with the shoulder. And we turn full facing as we travel. At the top of the sine wave, we create backward motion. We let the punch go. 1. And then in 2, then we step back, walking stance 3, then we step back, walking stance 4, and that's kind of Chon Ji. So yeah, I mean the common things in this pattern are the walking stance not wide enough on the turns, especially the counterclockwise 180s. The L stance back foot not kicking out, and incorrect ready positions at the sort of more junior grades. We see that all the time. And it's worth correcting early. If you kind of let that slide early, you'll see that then in blue belts, and that's less acceptable, right? Whatever about white belts and yellow belts making small technical errors like that, blue belts making mistakes in Chon Ji like this with ready position simple fixes, that kind of has to be routed out early, Again, what was I saying about the rotation, keeping the hip for the low block, not turning the hips too early, and really using that rotation to help the body along, to help the power along. So that's kind of a quick breakdown on Chon Ji. That's what it looks like in my head. I'd love to know what people think. If you think it's if it's bad, if it's good, if it needs this, if you have anything that I can't see on this pattern, please feel free, chime in, let us know what you think, and yeah, we'll be back soon with the next one. Cheers.